What's up, guys?
What up?
How's it going?
Yeah.
This is episode number 1. Very excited. Are you guys excited?
Extremely excited. Let's do this. Let's rock it.
Okay.
Let's rock out.
Kung Fu is sending me messages on my watch.
Oh God, you're gonna. That was my first words. Ah.
This is Outside the Botz, a weekly commentary on the world of money, politics, and culture, with Dex, Frank, and Kung Fu from Pulse Wave Trading. Go to OutsideTheBotz.com. I'm wondering if we say it's with Dex, Frank, and Kung Fu. I wonder if people think that me and Dex are going to perform Kung Fu. Like, if all of a sudden we're going to turn our cameras on.
So you should say then Kung Fu at the Bit Dojo. So then it gives me a place in
the Bit Dojo. Kung Fu of the Bit Dojo. I will say.
like
or
that.
at the Bit Dojo.
Well, that's going to be your show. Morning trades at the Bit Dojo. So for people who are familiar with, especially those watching on YouTube, those who are listening maybe less so, but those watching on YouTube might be confused because this is the first episode of Outside the Botz, and we're hosting it on our Pulse Wave Trading YouTube. So Outside the Botz is us talking about stuff outside of the algorithmic bots that we use to trade. So this is us talking about other stuff.
Yeah, it's more to life than just trading, even though trading is life.
Word. So yeah, we've got a few things to talk about. For one thing, they're trying to impeach the president.
What else is new?
They've been
Clinton 2.0.
They're doing it now. Oh, by the way, I should say, we've got a brand new website for those of you who follow us and love and adore and cherish us. We appreciate you. I don't know if there's anybody who fits that description. We've got a new website, OutsideTheBotz.com. Head over there. We've been building this blog for a couple of weeks, and there's some excellent articles. Check it out. We've also got our Outside the Botz Twitter, which is Outside the Botz with a Z at the end. The website, it doesn't matter. You can go. Well, there it is. There's the official.
Thinking outside the box. I'm sure the people listening to us, they're avid readers. I think they won't have any problem finding it.
They'll find it. So anyway, you can check out a lot of the things we're going to talk about today are at our blog at OutsideTheBotz.com, and we'll be discussing it. So the big thing today is the Democrats are going after Trump for real, and he released the transcript of the his call with the Ukraine president or prime minister, whatever he is. No, he's a president, and that's his name.
So basically what we have here is a Bill Clinton 2.0, where they're going to try to impeach the president because A, they don't like him, B, they're afraid of him, and this upcoming 2020 election. They know for a fact that if they do not get rid of him before that, they're going to lose another election. He will be reelected for a second term.
Yeah, I think that's been the inspiration behind this for a long time. I think when the election first happened, the impeachment stuff was just desperation to try to throw off his presidency. But at this point, I think it's desperation because they see that he has an almost guarantee of winning the election at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the economy alone will win him the election. I mean, the stock market's hitting all-time highs under his watch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first few months, people were like, well, no, Obama did all that. Anything good has happened because of what Obama did. But see, 4 years have passed now.
Mm-hmm.
They can no longer say that.
It was reported last week that his numbers as of now are actually better than Obama's were at the exact same time.
Once again, they know they can't beat him, so the only way to beat him is to remove him.
Not to mention the candidates that are being put up by the Democrat Party. I mean, I was actually I was asking this morning. I was asking our executive cat lady assistant if there's a new way to say jump the shark, because jump the shark is jump the shark. We couldn't find one, so I'll have to stick with jump the shark. But it's as if this past week was Democratic jump the shark week. They had their UN school walkout. Let's see how crazy we can make our Children's Day. And then they did a hilarious 48-hour global warming marathon on, I think it was MSNBC, I'm not sure, and they streamed it to. They had all of the Democrat presidential candidates except for Biden and Pocahontas. What's her name? Elizabeth Warren. So they had everybody except those two. Pocahontas.
Oh,
so they had.
Who gave her that name?
Maybe Rush Limbaugh. The president calls her Pocahontas, but I think Limbaugh used to call her Pocahontas.
Why? Are they claiming she's Native American or something?
No, she claimed. No, you guys don't know this. She claimed to be Native American to get into college, and then she did a. The Native Americans were offended. I mean, this went on obviously a long time ago. She's
a liar in a nutshell.
She's an extremely wealthy woman, by the way.
But she's a liar, is what you're saying.
Oh, in every absolutely. Okay. But then she famously did a DNA test, and it came back. I think it was it was worse than 1 to 1,000th of her DNA showed Native American, which is basically like they just include that at the bottom of the DNA sheet because of course you are. Like it's not even a real thing, you know.
Wow. In other words, she lied and she has no ancestry with them whatsoever. Okay. So then we're back to this then. So we have a bunch of people who are like little children. They have to win at everything. They can't take losing. They have very poor sportsmanship. They commit crimes and high treason, and then they want to be mad at the president and accuse him of crimes and high treason. So it's the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, exactly. And you and I were talking about this while we were waiting for Kung Fu to get here. The only thing that gives me any pause that I've seen so far is this video. I'll repost this on Outside the Botz. But this is Judge Napolitano talking about it, and he basically says that what Trump has said himself. And for those you know, most people know who Napolitano is. He's a pretty straight shooting
libertarian judge.
Libertarian, that's the word I was looking for. Libertarian judge. He says that based on Trump's words, and I believe even what Giuliani said, he believes that the president did commit a crime if he did what he said. Now, today, these transcripts came out. So here's what they're saying. It begins with the president congratulating Zelensky. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. On his election victory. He eventually broaches the subject of Joe Biden and his son. There's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about it. So whatever you can do with the attorney general would be great. So that's in the transcript. So we know Trump actually said that. Trump said in the phone call, Biden went around bragging that he stopped the prosecution. So if you could look into that, it sounds horrible to me. He goes on. It says he noted that the U.S. has been very, very good to the Ukraine. It's just the relationship is not always reciprocal. So it's definitely shady.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little rough. Here's one theory that but what I started to say is if I hadn't seen the Napolitano video and reading some of this stuff, I would just think, okay, this is just more Russiagate nonsense. But there does seem to be some actual shady stuff going on here. But I mean, the president voluntarily released this document, as far as I know. Now
do we know that that's him? The White House claimed responsibility for this document.
Yes.
Okay.
The White House on Wednesday released a transcript.
Okay.
And he was saying he was going to. Now, here's the thing. There is a theory, an active theory. Tim Pool did a video about this, I think, 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was yesterday. I think based on a New York Times story that maybe, just maybe, and I've never bought into the 4D chess stuff with President Trump. I think he is a smart guy. He's also, he's part genius, part lunatic, something like that. But that maybe, just maybe, the president and Giuliani, who is Mayor Giuliani is his personal lawyer, maybe they've set a trap at all this. That they know he did something, like he did enough to keep it interesting and make it interesting for the Democrats. But by investigating this, they are going to uncover the fact that Joe Biden and his son have committed far worse crimes. And it's basically going to pop the cork on a very deep well of information that shows corruption in the Obama administration. and the front runner Joe Biden. So there's a theory out there that that's what this is really all about. Because the thing is, the only reason this story, well, I guess there was a whistleblower, but the president is the one, according to Napolitano, who actually said things that incriminate him. So very interesting. Obviously, we're going to be keeping.
Well, here's my thing too. I have to tell you why I'm leaning toward what you say. The first time I heard that this thing was, put out there, is that people who are in power are pretty clever and very careful, usually, not to put anything out there that's going to incriminate them. The only time they would sacrifice themselves in any kind of way or expose themselves to any kind of risk is if the reward is way greater than them putting that risk out there. And if the odds of anything, drastic happening to them as a result of themselves putting out there is very minimal. So I have to say, it sounds like that could be the play here, because why else would they put something out to incriminate themselves? I mean, if we look at investigations of the past, we see people shredding documents or just saying the document's missing. We don't know where it is. It just disappeared. They didn't do that. They released the transcript.
Yeah. So
you're only going to do that if you're like, okay, I'll release it. But now let's see what the ball's in your court. What you're going to do is your move now.
Well, this is Giuliani the day before. I think you guys will be able to hear this. This is him the day before on Fox.
The distinction is this. What they're trying to say is I went there for a political mission to kind of get Joe Biden in trouble.
This is on Outside the Box.
I went there as a lawyer defending his client. I've known about this for 5 months. I've been trying to get people to cover this for 5 months, so I knew it would be very, very hard to get this out. And what I'm talking about it's Ukrainian collusion, which was large, significant, and proven, with Hillary Clinton, with the Democratic National Committee, a woman named Chalupa, with the ambassador, with an FBI agent who's now been hired by George Soros, who was funding a lot of it. When the prosecutor fired, the new prosecutor who Biden approved, you don't get to approve a prosecutor in a foreign country unless something fishy is going on. The new prosecutor dropped the case not just on Biden's kid and the crooked company that Biden's kid worked for, Burisma. That was done as a matter of record in October of 2016 after the guy got tanked. He also dropped the case on George Soros' company called Antac. Antac is the company where there's documentary evidence that they were producing false information about Trump, about Biden. Fusion GPS was there. Go back and listen to Nellie Orr's testimony. Nellie Orr says that there was a lot of contact between Democrats and the Ukraine. Well, I have all the contacts. And John, when the rest of this comes out and we look at China and the 1.5 billion that the Biden family took out of China while that guy was negotiating for us, this will be a lot bigger than Spiro Agnew. They have fallen into a trap.
That's the money clip. Now this was the day before. By the way, this is on OutsideTheBots.com. They've fallen into a trap, and this is the thing. This is on the 24th that he says. Oh, actually, this is the 22nd. Looking at the tweet. So this is something that's been on. And if you see the interviews with Giuliani, he's passionately, repeatedly saying that he's known about this for 5 or 6 months, begging people to pay attention to it. So I don't think it's that far-fetched to think that him and Trump, knowing that the Democrats are going to try to impeach him for something, would welcome them impeaching him about this because it's going to uncover a serious corruption.
What say you, Kung Fu?
He's muted.
Okay.
He's probably working on something.
Yeah, I know.
Kung Fu works 24 hours a day.
Wait, hey, what? Oh, sorry. I someone called me. I had to pick it up. What you had a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. What say you regarding this this whole impeachment situation?
I mean, the reason why I've kept quiet is that it's just ridiculous. Maybe there needs to be some kind of fault to way Trump will win the next election. But the fact of it is that there's no serious opponent right now other than Elizabeth Warren, but it doesn't seem like it will be her time until the next time.
Yeah, she's a rough candidate too.
I mean, really, does this matter? Trump will get reelected. He wouldn't have put it out if he was going to get hurt by it. He said multiple times last night or this morning that it's going to backfire on them. It's a witch hunt again. And it keeps proving true that these witch hunts are just there to distract him from the goal that he is. Now, does it really, will this actually pan out to be anything other than just a cost to the American public? I don't know. I mean, it's just a really big waste of time. Why don't you just get back to it? Get back to your job. Like, this is all a big waste of time. Like, that's what I think about all of this.
I think it's all, I mean, obviously it's all about the election.
It's all about the election. They're throwing stones, and that's fine. It's going to happen, but there's so many other things to worry about. I could care less how Joe Biden's son got paid by the Ukrainian government. I'm pretty sure it happened. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of facts out there that that will prove that there was some craziness going on or some illegal activities. But does that impact the American people at all? That's really the only thing that should matter. And Trump is just saying, let's move on. It's a witch hunt.
Yeah, but all right. So, but the other side of that, though, is because you just hit a very good point. You said, does this affect the American people in any way? Well, here's the thing. In a way, I'm going to say yes, but there's also a way to no. Okay, we know this about the election. So, does this affect the American people? Yeah, it can, very much so, because if you remove the most viable candidate out of the picture for the race, then it's going to go to the weaker candidate by default. So yeah, that does affect the American people. Now, as far as what went on in that transcript, so far what we see that there's no way that can affect the American people, but it does for the simple fact that, okay, Trump has now released his transcripts. Now it's the Democrats' turn to release their transcripts of conversations with the same individual.
Have you guys? I mean, Biden
did he? Trump is going to only be in trouble if he did something wrong. And on top of it, is whatever he did, is it a high enough crime? I'll call it a high crime for him to actually be impeached. And the answer is, could go both ways.
Yeah, but it's not clear, though.
It's not clear, so it's gray. So it doesn't put him under a high crime. I mean, at the end of the day, would impeachment affect his running for president in next year? I mean, it's not gonna take him out of the office. Bill's still around.
I think ironically, and Dex, you started this. You kind of hinted at this when we were talking earlier. I don't remember if we were live or not, but they're making the same mistake that the Republicans did with Bill Clinton. They only made him stronger. The country got mad over that because it was about BS stuff that nobody feels all that offended by.
Well, it wasn't about BS stuff. The thing with Clinton, see, that's what they want you to think. And this is similar.
Yeah, but that was the perception, though. The perception was he had an affair. What do you care? That was the perception.
Yeah, but it was deeper than that.
No, of course.
I'll touch on that later, but I want to lose my thought on this one. The whole thing with the Trump thing is they're saying that he did commit, a prosecutorial situation where he could be prosecuted. That's what Judge Napolitano said.
Yeah.
But there's something that they left out, though. People are forgetting that when Obama was in office for those 8 years, a lot of new laws were put on the books and some old laws changed. For instance, it became legal now for foreign entities to back a candidate. A candidate could take money from foreign entities that didn't exist before. All right, they were putting out some radical things when Obama was in office. He turned a lot of things on its head. So even though, like Judge Napolitano said, that the Constitution says thus and so, we don't know what other small print things that Obama added and amendments to certain things while he was in office. That would have to be looked into because it's looking like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. You change a law that would favor the Democratic Party, since they have a lot of foreign entanglements to begin with, and then you want to now impeach the current Republican president for foreign entanglements. So you can't have it both ways? Which is it going to be?
Gotcha. I hear you loud and clear. I mean, I would like to move on to another topic, but let's just call a spade a spade. I think the Democratic Party is a little upset that Bernie Sanders didn't get the nomination. And then when he didn't get it, none of those people went over to Hillary, and then Hillary didn't get elected. They went over to Trump.
Yeah.
So ever since then, it's been this get him out of office, rather than let's be a smart Democratic Party. Let's focus on our next person that we're going to elect, and let's get behind this. What they did was they threw 30 people into the ring, and they're like, one of them's going to stick. The truth is, no one is.
Yeah, they're rough. It's a rough crowd.
They're chasing. And so what I really think about all this is that it's a big waste of time, and it's gonna cost the taxpayer some bit of money, more than it should, because some older white men decided to steal money from another country. Okay, great. Move on. Like, in all honesty, is he really gonna be impeached? Probably not.
Yeah.
So when you said to me, do I really care about this? Like, answer is no.
Next story. We've got oh, this is great. I wasn't going to talk about this one, but we had Trump at the UN. We posted this also on Outside the Botz. I thought this was really interesting. He any second now it's going to load. There we go. He was at the UN and he said this: a free society cannot allow social media giants to silence the voices of the people. A free people must never, ever be enlisted. And this is significant. This was my take on this particular quote. A free people must never, ever be enlisted in the cause of silencing, coercing, canceling, or blacklisting their own neighbors. And the thing that is interesting to me about this, and I went on about this in the article, is that I think he actually reframed the debate about what it means to ban people from social media. Because up until now, there's sort of two sides. You have the leftists, they justify it as protecting people from hate speech and bullying and violence. The right rallies and says, well, we need free speech. They say it's bias, which is obviously is. It's almost beyond discussion that these organizations are largely run by leftists. But Trump does something interesting here. And this last line, free people must never be enlisted to blacklist their own neighbors. And so he makes it this personal thing, that it's not just about, public figures like pundits and political figures or celebrities, but that what social media is actually doing is setting up an environment where you're welcomed and encouraged to report on your neighbors for the wacky things that they say. I think this is actually kind of brilliant because it takes it takes it away from being about people like Milo Yiannopoulos, who are big important figures, and it makes it about your own. Because I mean,
last name, you nailed it.
Thank you. Because here's the thing, like what's actually happening now, it's not just people like Milo and Gavin McInnes and people like that, but I mean, my own brother gets kicked off of Facebook twice a year. Like guys that I know, you guys know I used to be a custom knife maker for a short period of time in my life. Guys I follow there, they'll get booted because they post something related to guns or something like that. In fact, we reposted, let's see, it's down here. Our executive Catwoman posted it. She didn't post it yet. But we had an article on our site. Actually, you know who did? PJW did, up here in Summit News. That Instagram is banning photos of people at gun ranges.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yeah, like banning people at gun because it promotes violence. Now that, like right there, that captures exactly what Trump is saying, that we have these gigantic organizations run by extreme leftists, not just Democrats, extreme leftists who are enlisting their neighbors to turn on each other, enlisting people to turn on their neighbors rather. So we've got these digital overlords who are now saying that the idea that Americans posting pictures from the gun range would cause violence. First of all, it's absolutely ridiculous. You have to be a complete moron to think that. And second, it's just it's censorship. It's brutal censorship.
So it sounds like the president is all for freedom of speech.
Yeah, well, there's been complaints from the right that he hasn't been speaking up enough. Because he's the president, it's unlikely that he's going to get banned from Twitter. But there are plenty of people who helped him get elected who have gotten banned, and he hasn't said nearly enough in their defense. But it does look like he's taking some initiative now. So.
Yeah, but see, here's a bigger problem with all this. All right, so you're getting the society is getting back to them what they've put out. Okay, so we come up with indoctrinating people in public school system. We dumb down the society by doing so. Then we wonder why people are taking to the quote unquote programming so successfully. So now people are being triggered by ridiculous words and phrases. So now you got into a point where just seeing or watching a video that someone at a gun range will trigger an individual to become violent is absolute insanity. But that's where we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it is no surprise to us where we start seeing censorship. Where did we see the first real government sanctioned backed, shutting up of people's censorship? We saw it under the Obama administration.
Yeah, in a big way.
Where they took down anywhere from 50 to 100,000 different blogs and websites, which is unconstitutional. A lot of people spent time and money building those websites and blogs, and then the government just comes and shuts it down. So we have now become the United States of China, where the government controls everything. They control your speech. They control what you see. They control your movement. They control your thoughts. That is not a society. That is a factory full of robots.
It's even worse than government, though, because with Google, Facebook, and Twitter having so much power, and Amazon having so much power over people, it's worse than government. we can obviously there's deep-seated corruption in the government that you can't get out with elections, but it goes beyond that, because now you have these massive corporations that are in control. Like the Joe Rogan interview with the Twitter CEO, you see that the guy is legitimately oblivious to how biased he and his company actually is. Completely oblivious to it. Doesn't know it's a thing that's happening. So it's scary. It's not even something that they're necessarily. I don't want to say they're not doing it intentionally, because they're obviously doing it intentionally, but there's a disconnection behind it that makes it scary.
Well, what do you call the merger of corporations and government?
What?
Fascism.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what else leads to fascism and totalitarianism? Socialism.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what gets you?
And that's absolutely what they want.
Exactly.
The fact that they talked the American youth into embracing socialism is a pretty amazing and scary, terrifying thing.
It lets you know just how well they've done with dumbing down the society.
Speaking of which, let's do one more story and then we'll bail on this. We've got turning to culture. We've got the Joker movie coming out. I've already got my tickets. I'm extremely excited about it. and you've got an interesting thing happening. It initially comes out and people are saying it's a masterpiece, that it Joaquin Phoenix is going to win an Oscar, could be the best movie of the year. Serious high praise, but then the social justice warriors start reviewing it, and they're going after it for violence. Then yesterday, the BBC posted this article. This is the gist of it. Families of those killed while watching a Batman film in 2012. This is the Aurora shooting, very tragic. Have written to Warner Brothers with concerns about the new Joker film, and urging the studio to take action. I think the thing that's happening here is you have a a violent film, and it's in the Batman universe, and there was a shooting related to a Batman movie in the past. But ultimately, I think these people were looking for to shake down Warner Brothers for a donation. I mean, that's the point of that story. But more with this, there actually is, this is from the Daily Wire, there actually is, I guess, social media threats of violence on the opening day of the Joker. But there's sort of a, I don't know how to put it into words, but there's something about this movie that is triggering social justice warriors and liberal types. There's something about, I guess their take is that the thing is, the star of the movie isn't Batman, it's the Joker, and the Joker is a total psycho in the movie. And so they're basically saying, kind of like the Instagram story, that just by displaying this violence, it creates a sympathetic character and then is going to encourage more violence, which, I mean, as far as I know, it's never been proven that violent entertainment causes violent behavior. But that, well, people who respond to it respond because they're predisposed toward violent behavior. So if it's going to stir anything, it's going to stir something the person who's predisposed toward.
Well, I look at it this way. Let's say they're right. Violent movies make people violent.
People dying.
We know that all truths are parallel, and they're right. I remember being a young boy. I was probably 8 years old, and it was around Christmas time. I remember.
Before you tell your story.
What's that?
Before you tell your story, because I don't want to seem like a man that doesn't care about your dreams and hopes and stories. So
what a weird thing to say.
Yeah, right. If movies make people violent, then based on what you said, then you would say that gaming, shooter first games would make people violent as well.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Well,
what about the actions of the people that actually do the horrific event, and the media has to frame it as this media impacted this person so badly that they went out and they became violent? And that's nothing short of complete fucking bullshit. If you want to nail that out, you can nail that out, Frank, but that's complete bullshit. The person acted like a crazy person, insignificant to life, and took other people's lives for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's not because a movie was violent.
Yeah,
that person had absolute issues and was not dealt with at the family level, at the educational level, at the friend level, way before the movie came out. And if the hand of those people is out, I completely understand. But the movie didn't make him violent. It was well before that. Maybe there was a trigger set off by that movie. Fine. I can understand that. I would argue that too. But at the end of the day, that has to stop. You know, Columbine was blamed on those kids and that music, Marilyn Manson being, hateful, and it drove them to want to do crazy things. Like, that's complete bullshit. It's not true.
Yeah, it's nowhere.
I think we just have to stop with that. By the way, this was not supposed to be the first show's thoughts. I didn't think it would go this political first show, Frank. Just so you know.
Well, that's how we get down, my man. That's how we get down.
It's what's in the news, man. The impeachment story came yesterday. You can't avoid it.
But he made a good point.
Interesting thing about the Dark Knight thing. You want to blame the movie. The shooting was the night of the movie. No one had even seen the movie yet. The guy was just a psycho. He dressed up as a Joker and went and killed people. It was horrible.
Well, here's my thing, though. Before I was so rudely interrupted.
Yeah,
back in 1978, Christmas time, the little girl that I was friends with across the street from me in the house across the street, I went to her house and we were putting up decorations, and she left the house for a moment to cross to the other side of the street and was hit by a speeding car. She was knocked so high in the air, she almost touched the telephone wires.
Jeez.
And when she landed on the hood of the car and then rolled when she hit the ground. So that's a very tragic moment that I remember as a kid. And so I just want to put that out there today. And I want to sign a petition. You guys, we're going to get a petition going that cars should be banned because cars kill people.
Yeah.
I saw it with my own eyes.
Wait a second. You were trying to make my point, and I didn't hear you out.
There you go.
What?
Exactly.
That's why I'm the algo capitalist, baby.
It's difficult into words.
Outside the bots.
And then I'm going to slam dunk it, and we can move on right here. You ready?
I'm ready.
If guns kill people, knives and baseball bats kill people, and cars kill people. Therefore, we have to do away with all those things and do away with violent video games and do away with violent movies and do away with violent speech, right? We can do away with all of that.
They've whipped these people up into a frenzy, believing that basically every 5 seconds, everywhere you go, you're going to get killed by a mass shooter. It's actually an incredibly rare.
Yeah, but this slam dunk.
Incredibly rare. But
I'm going to slam it. I'm bringing it home, man. I'm bringing it home.
Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead.
What is their excuse when Cain killed Abel?
Boom.
Now we can move on.
He's dropping the truth bombs.
There was no knives. There were no bats. There were no cars, no violent movies, none of that. And he killed his brother with his bare hands. Who are you going to blame for that one?
Absolutely. Your chances of drowning in a swimming pool are much higher than your chances of getting shot. Your chance of getting a car accident are astronomically higher than your chances of getting shot.
I've been in several car accidents.
You see?
I'm so much pain.
How many times have you been shot, though, Dex?
Never, because I don't put myself in those situations.
So, I mean, the thing is, what is it all? But why have they whipped our populace into a frenzy, believing that guns are such a great danger to the population when clearly they're not, unless you live in Chicago, where they have the strictest gun laws in the entire country?
Well, guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Why have they whipped themselves into this frenzy? It's about control. You can't usher in your socialist utopia when the people are armed, because there's one thing you can't do with an armed populace, and that is fill up mass graves with those people. You can't do it, and you can't have socialism unless you have complete control.
You can take away guns, and you can outlaw knives, and you can outlaw baseball bats, and people will still be getting murdered. People will still be getting killed, because that's not the problem. The problem is in the heart. All right? You will never be able to do away with murder. I don't care if you played Sesame Street on every television station 24/7. Someone, when they get angry, they're going to sin and they're going to kill. When a person's angry enough to kill, that's what they're going to do. If they got to use their bare hands, if they got to use a rock, a stick, a toothpick, whatever. When a person is angry enough to kill, that's what they're going to do. It doesn't matter if there's no gun or knife around. They'll use their bare hands.
Yeah.
Until we deal with that, we will just be going around in circles.
Well, the thing that really ticks me off, I've said this many times on our various broadcasts. At least I've said it in conversation. Maybe I haven't said it many times. But I live in one of the strictest states for gun control. And of that state, I live in the second strictest county in all of New York when it comes to guns. So despite my personal convictions, my rights as an American under the Second Amendment, and the fact that I have proper training and have never committed a crime in my entire life, or never convicted of a crime, despite all of those things, I'm not able to legally practice to use my Second Amendment rights to carry where I live. So when I take my kids to see the Joker, if I follow the law, I'll be very vulnerable, which is an abomination to me. That really ticks me off. But here's my final thought on anti-gunners.
These people are lost and on drugs, and they have venereal diseases.
With that, folks, please check out our new website, Outside the Botz. I've been waiting all episode to do that. OutsideTheBotz.com. Follow us on our brand new Twitter. Our very first tweet. Kung Fu's probably horrified, but I'm very proud of this. Our very first tweet on Outside the Botz. Orange Man stands up to digital overlords at gathering of inbred socialist gangsters. So if that sounds like an interesting Twitter to follow, check it out. It's Outside the Botz with a Z at the end. On Twitter, you can find all that at OutsideTheBotz.com. And we'd appreciate you following. Of course, this show has been brought to you by the wealth of resources provided by our friends. By our friends, I mean literally us at pulsewavetrading.com. So if you're interested in what we do inside the bots, well, you got to check out these pulse waves. We tweeted today. I had to sift through a mountain of winners for Winter Wednesday. And what was his name? Oh, Black Rob 81, I think is his handle inside our chat room. He caught the all-time high of what he called a quote unquote boring energy stock this week because there was a rally alert a few days ago, and he got himself positioned for it, and he caught the all-time high of that particular stock.
Way to go. Ride those waves.
Yeah, man. Good job. So really good job. And he said the quote that I pulled was, what did he say? The pulse waves are like a...
He said they're like a time machine.
Yeah, wait, I have the exact... It's on our Instagram. Let me find the exact quote. Hold on. Crack me up. I'll find it here. Oh, I'm doing too much on this poor computer. It hates me. It's like Frank Y. Yeah, Black Rob 81. So here's his... I want to see what he said. I can't fast forward. Never mind. It was cool. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. We appreciate you being here. We'll be back. We're going to be doing this every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Check in for it. Maybe next time we'll do it live. Could be fun.
That would be fun.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We are over. We are out.
Peace.
Thanks for checking us out. For links and show notes, go to OutsideTheBots.com. To learn more about what we do in our real jobs, go to PulseWaveTrading.com.